I don't know when it was the last time that the Fed rate monitor tool was so certain that the Federal Reserve was not going to cut interest rates. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky, and let's go ahead and keep you guys up to date with what's going on with the overall market. Overall, NASDAQ market ended 0.79% in the green, and even though at some points it looked overbought, it was incredibly bullish. Higher highs, higher lows. Why was the market so bullish? I mean, there was no positive news that necessarily came out. I mean, all the news that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today was the news that I was kept up to date with. And of course, as soon as the markets close, we sell off into the extended hours. Markets rally, we sell off into the extended hours. It's like clockwork. During normal market hours, markets thrive, markets push. During extended hours, markets get rejected and markets sell off. If you guys look at the larger time frame, markets have been consolidating up here for the past week to 2 weeks, right? No real progress. At least it has not been holding at these levels. And remember, the market has made a recovery based off of progress of this trade war, but that's not what it sounds like as of right now. If you guys did not see, it says breaking. The Trump administration has set a firm deadline of July 8th to finalize trade deals. July 8th, so that's next month on the 8th. President Trump is also urging countries to submit their best offers by Wednesday to avoid reinstatement of tariffs. Trump is making it clear that the tariff pause will end in 36 days. You want to know what is so laughable about this? Is that I'm not here to pick a side. If you're a Republican or Democrat, it's beyond that. It's when you make claims like this that are coming from the Trump administration, stating that there are firm deadlines and that they're going to make it very clear that the tariff pauses are ending in 36 days. And then literally just moments after, 1 or 2 hours after, is like the U.S. extends tariff pause on select Chinese goods through August 31st. Past that deadline of whatever the deadline was of July 8th. Like, do these, because I know it's not just Trump, right? It's Trump has a team, but does his administration not communicate with one another? Why would you make, like, this post or this statement never had to be made? That's the part that baffles me. It's like, it's inconsistent. There is no consistency with what he says versus what he does. And again, when I say he, I mean the administration. Is that, okay, well, one moment we're raising tariffs on everyone, then another moment it's like, okay, let's back down. No more trade war, no more tariffs. And then all of a sudden, last week, it was announced that, the Trump administration feels like the Chinese government has pretty much broken their agreement, and now trade wars is back on the table. And then now it's stated, right? Originally, it was that, all of these countries are eager to negotiate with the United States. So many countries are calling us. But then President Trump is also urging other countries to submit their best offer by Wednesday. If they're so eager to negotiate with you, why are you giving them a deadline? You guys better submit your offers best by Wednesday. It's just like why make comments that then make you look terrible at the end? And that's what I'm trying to say, is that at the end of the day, it's all a form of negotiation. But when you say one thing or your team says one thing and then you do another, and or you walk back on what it is that you say, that is why the joke is coming around of the taco, right? A reporter asked Trump about, how do you feel that there is a joke going around about calling you taco, right? So what was it? It was like, talk about it and then cow it out. Or I don't know exactly what it was. It's like pretty much stating that Trump will talk about it and then make specific claims. And then at the end of it, he will walk back, right? Or he will pretty much come back and at the end of it, not end up settling with whatever the original agreement that or statement it is that he said. It doesn't make sense. There's inconsistencies with it. And I think at the end of it, it's just these teams or this administration needs to be talking to one another more now than ever before, because it looks like it is getting messy. Like I don't want to get too into the specifics of what countries are doing what. It's like we have a really big problem with China. And based off of the looks of it as of right now, if we do get back into this trade war with China, remember, I want to remind you, markets are overextended. And the only reason that they recovered was because there was this 90-day tariff pause, right? And everyone was so eager to negotiate with the United States, and trade war was no longer going to happen. That's what caused this recovery. But then now you're saying that trade war is back on the table, and now there's this deadline. If they don't get to that deadline, then what ends up happening? Are you just going to extend it just like you did with China? It's like, again, talk about it and then cower it out, right? It's now you can see why that joke is standing, because it is truly laughable at this point, where you make these claims or your team makes these claims and then you simply, I don't want to say cower it out, but you walk back on what it is that you originally stated when you didn't even have to state any of it. So again, lack of progress on the upside. NASDAQ continues to consolidate. I don't think the market is a good deal. I also have no intention of selling my long-term positions because my intention is to be invested long-term. But also, I think during these overbought levels, it's very important to have cash to be able to buy the dip if markets do retrace. I just wouldn't be surprised if markets do retrace. That, again, things can get worse before they get better, especially when they're obviously not getting better with one of our main concerns, and that's China, right? And just like I talked about, the Fed rate monitor tool, a 99.1% probability that the Federal Reserve is going to pause in the next Fed meeting. Also proving once again, even after Jerome Powell's live speech today, he commented nothing about wanting to cut interest rates. There is no expectation that the Federal Reserve is going to save the Trump administration when it comes down to Trump begging and pleading and insulting Jerome Powell or too late Powell for not cutting interest rates quick enough, because they know one thing, right? There's one thing that was announced today, and it was that, hey, we hit a record, which is true. So tariff revenue collected in the U.S. in the month of May hit a record $22.3 billion, following the month of $16.5 billion in April. That is huge. Like if you look at the average months that we have year after year and month after month, no question, this is a substantial amount of money that has been made. And it is because of Trump. But I want to remind you, Google search it. It's not rocket science. And people are saying, look, we have great revenue that's being produced in tariffs and inflation is not going up and markets are going up. You can't be that naive. First off, it takes time to track inflation, right? Inflation or the CPI reports are a lagging economic report. You should all know that. The month has to complete itself for it to be reported. And it takes time for inflation or these tariffs to get passed down to the producer, the manufacturer, and then the consumer, and then that gets tracked on the inflation report. That all takes time. But if you Google search how inflation or who is paying for these tariffs, it's very simple. It's normally the importer, which is normally a US-based company, and the importer has one of two options. They either take the hit of the tariff and eat it themselves, but most businesses won't do that. It just means that they will have to either increase their prices or and that gets passed down to the consumer, which causes inflation, or they make less money and eventually end up going out of business, right? Because their net margins are slimmer due to these tariffs. So again, it's getting paid by Americans. So yes, $22.3 billion being made by Americans. We still got no tax cuts. And who's paying the $22.3 billion? That is correct. In some way, it's importers. And in most cases, it's consumers, right? Because it always gets passed down to them. If you don't believe me, Google search it yourself. It's very simple to understand. It's not controversial. It's just having common sense, right? And this is great. I'm all for generating more revenue for the United States, an effort to not charge income tax, right? That's why a lot of people voted for Trump. But guess what? We're not even there yet. And $22.3 billion a month, it's an incredible month. But guess what? We're $36.21 trillion in debt. And based off of the big, beautiful bill that Trump was trying to put into effect, we'll see if it ends up passing, it's supposed to add $4 to $5 trillion to our deficit. And even Elon Musk was not a big fan. Elon Musk, again, just because you're friends with someone or just because you voted for someone doesn't mean that you need to see eye to eye with everything that they're doing. And Elon had no problem, clearly listing why he was not a fan of the big, beautiful bill because of the toll that it would have in the just added or addition to the deficit, because that is one of the US's biggest problems right now, heading in the wrong direction. And again, it's just not being in a position where we are able to spend, right? So nonetheless, just wanted to make sure that I did my part in keeping you guys up to date. The other thing that I think is important to note is another big company, Disney this time, is laying off several hundreds of employees globally across multiple teams, including those in the Disney marketing for both film and TV, publicity, casting, and development, as well as corporate financial operations per variety. So I think last week it was Walmart. The week before that was Amazon. And again, we continue to assume that, stock market is pushing up. Economy must be doing well. I talked about it earlier today. There has never been so many properties listed on the market. I think right now we're at about $700 billion. Was it $700 billion that is currently sitting on existing inventory when it comes down to properties that are waiting to be purchased? And there's a huge disconnect with the amount of people that are wanting to sell their house versus how little buyers there are, at least for most Americans in the United States. With raising bond yields, the 10-year treasury is a benchmark for that. It only makes it more expensive for Americans to afford a home. Even with good credit, 6.5% to maybe 7.5% would be your mortgage rate, making it incredibly expensive, once again, to own a home. We have businesses that are struggling, and some of the largest businesses that are laying off people, not just in the hundreds, but in the thousands. But then again, we continue to look at the stock market and we think, everything is fine. Everything should be, thriving. But again, the stock market is a leading indicator. It's not how our economy is actually doing. So I'll make sure that I do my part in keeping you guys up to date with how markets continue to develop. But as of right now, let's stay focused, right? The Federal Reserve, trade war, and China. Very simple. That should give us a better understanding if markets will continue to hold or potentially make new highs, or if things actually do get worse based off of those three things we just talked about, then possible downturn. And again, no reason to be scared. The only people that get scared during market downturns are those that did not prepare or those that purchased way too much at these overbought levels. They're over leveraged. And again, they're unable to or unwilling to hold themselves accountable and maybe either reduce their position in preparation for a downturn. So again, hope to see you for tomorrow's live trading session. If you want to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow when the market opens, second link in the description down below. You can join for $1.35 per day is what it breaks down to with the current sale we have going on. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.